Python developers, aren't you tired of repeating the same tasks and creating the same directory structures for every new project? In this tutorial, we will show you how to create a custom project template for Python software projects. So, in your favorite text editor, you're gonna open your terminal and pip install this KivyMD. So I'm gonna leave a link to this KivyMD inside the description. Right. So let me just minimize this. So what we'll be creating our template right made up like this, right? So inside this app folder we have init.py file. So this init.py file is going to be like our main KivyMD application, right? This is where we are going to set the screen size here, and our screens. We're going to import our screens here and our custom widgets in here, right? So this is our main app, right? So then underneath this app folder we have assets. So inside the assets, this is where we're gonna store our fonts and our image. Then we have this views folder here. This is where we're gonna create our screens. Then inside this views folder we have this create screen.py. So what this does is it just creates screens for us so that we don't have to do this manually every time, and as this is going to take most of our time. And underneath the views folder we have the widgets folder. Inside this widgets folder, that's where we're going to be creating our custom widgets. So inside here we have buttons.py. So this is where we're going to be creating our custom buttons. Models.py. So this is where we're going to be creating our models. Same with pop-ups, tables, and text field. So right here in our text editor, right, we have an empty template folder. So PyCharm was just kind enough to create this main.py file for us, right? So inside this template folder, we're gonna create 4 main folders, right? Okay. So the first one we're gonna call it app, and we're gonna create another one. The second one we're gonna call it assets. We're gonna create a third one. We're gonna call it views, and we're gonna create the last one. We're gonna call it widgets. So this is where we're gonna put all our custom widgets. So inside the, let's start with the widgets folder. So inside this widget folder, we're gonna put the Python file. The first one is going to be buttons. So for now, we're gonna leave it empty. Then let's create another one. I'm gonna call it models. So this is where we're gonna create all our models. Then whenever we are creating say the mobile app, desktop app, or tablet app, we're just gonna be calling these models, and they're going to be stored in this models.py file. We're gonna create another one. We're gonna call this one pop-ups. So whenever we have to create something in our applications, right? We just to pop out, let's say a confirmation box, a confirmation pop-up, right? Or a warning or an error pop-up. We can store all the pop-ups in this pop-ups.py file. Then inside this widgets folder, we're gonna create another file. We're gonna call it tables.py. So whenever we create tables, right, and we wanna show the data, so KivyMD has its own data table widget, right? But I prefer creating a custom Kivy widget, because this gives me the room to play around with the code and create something that I really want to use. Something that's not limited to what the Kivy data table offers. Inside here, we're gonna create the last one, the last Python file. We're gonna call it textfield.py. Right, so that's right. Textfield.py. So in here, right, we're just gonna create if you look at Kivy as this text field widget, right? So some have borders, some have rounded edges, the KivyMD ones. So what I prefer doing is just taking the traditional Kivy text input widget, right? Then I just play around with it, remove borders, make the laser color black, I remove the background, just make it transparent so that I can play around with the, let's say if I'm putting it inside a box layout, I have more room to play around with the box layout. Then I put the widget inside there so that it's gonna look the way I want it to look. So it's not gonna have a traditional KivyMD look or Kivy, right? So inside our text field.py, right, we're gonna say from Kivy dot lang import builder. Then underneath that, we're gonna say from Kivy dot uix dot text input import, right? Then underneath you're gonna say builder dot load string. Then inside here we're gonna say we're gonna call our custom widget text field. Then in here we're gonna say cursor color. So we're gonna set this to black. So it's gonna be 0,0,0,1. Let's close this. Then we're gonna say foreground color. So this is going to be black also. So it's going to be 0,0,0,1. Then we're gonna give this our custom widget background color of transparent. So it's going to be 0,0,0,0,0. Then we're gonna say background normal. So just gonna put empty quotes. Then we're gonna say background active. So here we're just gonna do the same. Then we're gonna say right tab. We're gonna set this to false. Then here we're gonna say font size. So we're gonna set this to 11 scalable pixels. So when you're using KivyMD, like okay, updated KivyMD, right? So if this was a KivyMD widget, we wouldn't be able to use a font size. So what we'll be doing, saying font style, then it's gonna be like a label, and the row is gonna be small, medium, or large. But here we're just using a traditional Kivy text input. Then here we're gonna say font underscore name, and this is going to be app dot. So we haven't created the app dot body variable yet in our main app. Now we're just gonna say app dot body. So underneath our border dot load string, we're gonna say class text field, and our text field is gonna inherit from our text input. And in here we're gonna say define underscore init Okay. So in here we're gonna say comma star keyword tags. Okay. Then here we're gonna say none. Then we're gonna say super hot in it. In here we're gonna say okay. So I believe our textfield.py file is done. So I'm just gonna control S this, then move on to table.py. So inside our table.py, I'm gonna say from kv.ux.box layout import box layout. Then I'm gonna say from kv.ux.behaviors import button behavior. Then from kv.properties import string property and object property. So we're gonna need this when we're creating our custom table, because we're gonna be using labels in our custom tables, right? And labels only taking strings. Then our object properties, we're gonna use them. Let's say we're gonna put a button inside our tables, or we're just gonna make the table a button. So we're gonna need this object property to act as a callback. So whenever we press this button, it's gonna call as a function which is going to be like in a parent class. I hope that made sense. Okay, so then we're gonna say from ev dot lang port builder. Then underneath that we're gonna say builder dot load string. So here we're just gonna leave it like this. So this is going to be an empty string. So then I move to our pop-ups. So in our pop-ups, right, we're gonna say from ev.ux.float layout port float layout. Then from excuse me ev.ux.model view port model view. So this is what we're gonna be using to create our pop-ups, because the model view in itself is a pop-up widget. So it usually covers the whole screen. But what we're going to be doing is we're just going to make the background transparent or semi-transparent. Then we're just going to put maybe a label at the center, a box layout at the center, or a float layout at the center. Then we're going to give that float layout a background color. So it's going to pop up, like it's going to look nice and going to be visible as it's going to be set apart from the background. Then underneath that, we're going to say from ev.properties import we're gonna need a string property, we're gonna need a list property and object property. Then underneath that, let me just go back to our tables and copy this. Okay, so I believe our pop-ups.py is looking okay. So let's proceed to our models. So let's just copy everything in our pop-ups.py file and paste it here. So here we're just gonna add a few widgets, right? Um, I believe we can get rid of this plot layout. Then we can let's just leave it there. Let's just leave it. So usually in our models, right? Let me paste this here. We usually have pickers. Let's say date pickers and time pickers. Because other input we can use our custom text field widget, right? But let's say we wanna select a date. We're gonna use a date picker, and let's say we wanna select time. We're gonna use a time picker, and maybe we wanna add a file to file model. So we're gonna use a file manager, right? So we just have to have these already put in our template, custom template folder, right? So that whenever we are creating and we forget to import or some, it's just gonna be there for us, waiting for us in our custom template folder. So here we're gonna say from KivyMD dot ux dot pickers port. So I usually use the MD model date picker and MD time. This needs to be kept. Time picker vertical. These ones. And you're gonna say from KivyMD dot ux dot file manager import MD file manager. So our models.py file is now ready. So now let's move on to buttons.py. Right, so let's go back to our models.py and copy everything. Okay, let's paste it down here. So in here, just copy this and paste it here. So I'm gonna change this to the box layout. This is going to be a box layout. So I'm gonna get rid of this model view. I can get rid of this object property and list property. This also, and this also needs to go. Underneath here, we're gonna say from ev.ux.spinner import spinner. So let's say we're gonna create a custom drop down widget. So we're gonna need this kivy.ux.spinner. Then underneath that we need anything. We need button behavior, then toggle button behavior. So from kivy.ux.behaviors port button behavior and toggle button behavior, right? So what this does, right? Let's say we want to create a custom toggle button. When you're working with our navigation or a button behavior, when you want to create a custom button. So KivyMD has custom buttons already created, but KivyMD in most cases and many times before, right, they just like update the package, right? And whenever you're trying to run old code, the whole system is just gonna be totally brand new. So what I usually do is I like creating my own custom buttons. So this is what I'll be doing in the buttons.py file. So I'm just gonna get rid of these. Okay, and let's minimize this widgets folder. So inside this views folder, I'm just gonna create a new folder, and I'm gonna call it home. And inside this home folder, I'm just gonna create a new file. Just gonna call it init And from this init, inside this init, the py file, I say from dot home dot home. So we haven't created this home.py file yet. We're gonna create it in a minute. Inside this home folder, I'm gonna create another file. So this is going to be home.kv. Then inside here, I'm gonna say home. Then let's just put an MD label. Then we're gonna give it some text of what we can call this. Let's just say welcome to your custom Python app template. Okay, so if you have something cool to put here, you just put it. Then we're gonna say edge align. So we're gonna align this to the center. Then we're gonna say font style. We're gonna set it to display and raw. We're gonna set it to small and okay, let's not make the text bold. Okay, so inside the home folder, let's create another Python file. So we're gonna call this home.py. So inside here, we're gonna say from kivy.ux dot screen manager import screen. Then from kivy dot okay, kivy dot properties import string property. Then we're gonna say from kivy dot lang port builder. Then here we're gonna say builder dot load. Here we're gonna say load file. So here we're gonna say use home then home.kv. So this is going to load our kv file. Then that's loading the UI. Underneath this builder.load file line, we're gonna say plus home. In here, we're gonna say screen. Then inside, we're gonna say let's just say avatar. And here we're gonna say assets, then images, then avatar dot png. Right. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put this inside the parentheses. Then on the side we wanna say string property. Underneath here we're gonna say fine on enter. Turn the args. So in here, right, our we made this home inherit from screen. So the reason is, let's say, whenever the screen is on display, right? This on enter function is called. So what the on enter function does is, whenever our screen is visible or it's displayed on the screen, right? It's gonna do something first. So whenever, let's say, we want to update our screen, or we want to load certain information, or we want to collect certain information from our database, this on enter function is gonna do that first, so that whenever, let's say, you leave the screen and open another screen, right? Whenever you come back, you don't have to manually reload the information. The on enter function is just gonna load it as soon as it's on display. Okay, so let's close this file. I believe this is now okay. Now we don't have any errors here. So now let's move on to the assets folder. So inside our assets folder, we're gonna put two directories. The first one is images, and the second one is fonts. So inside fonts, right, that's where we're gonna keep all our fonts, and inside images, that's where we're gonna keep our images. So I'm gonna load some images after I've done working app folder, because most of the stuff is going to be used in the app folder. Case of fonts, right? So let's go to the app folder, and we're gonna create a file inside our app folder. So we're gonna call this file init, right? So inside our init.py file, right, we're gonna say from KivyMD.app import mdapp. Then we're gonna say from kivy.core.window import window. Then here we're gonna say from kivy.ux.box layout import box layout. Then from kivy.bang import builder, right? Underneath these imports, right, we're gonna say height, and our height, let's set it to 600. Then width, I'm gonna set our width, let's say 1050. And underneath this width, we're gonna say window dot size. Then we're gonna say it's equals to, inside the parentheses, we're gonna say width, comma, then we're gonna add the height. So this is going to be the size of our screen, that the Kivy running app size. Then underneath that, we're gonna say builder dot load string. So inside our builder dot load string, we're gonna say hashtag. Then we're gonna say port home from home dot home port home. Right. Then let's create some space here. So I'm just gonna put a comment. Then I'm gonna say custom widgets. So after this line, we're gonna import our custom widgets. So on top here, I'm just gonna put another line. Then I'm gonna say screens. Okay. So now let's import our custom widgets. So at first we just have a text field. So, but after, when we are creating our apps, right, that's where we're just gonna be putting each custom widget that we create. But for now, we just created the text field, so we're just gonna import the text field only. So you're gonna say hashtag import text field from widgets dot text field dot text field. Then we're gonna say hashtag import factory from Kivy dot factory dot factory. So this factory, right? What we're gonna do is, let's say when we're creating our buttons.py file in our widgets folder, right? We left the option to create custom drop downs, said earlier on. So what does that does, right? It just creates our custom widget drop down, right? But then we have to edit the options. Let's say we create our spinner, right? And we give it 4 values. So when we press our drop down, right, it's gonna show those 4 values. So what I'm gonna do now is create a custom, call it spinner options, right? So that the 4 options are going to be displayed in a manner that's looking okay, that's not looking too bad. So here I'm just gonna say SP, short for spinner options. Then I'm gonna put an @ then this is going to inherit from spinner option. So here we're gonna say font size. So this is going to be, let's just say 10 scalable pixels. Then we're gonna set the text to, we're gonna give the text bold font. So bold is going to be true. Color. So our text color is going to be, let's set it to black. But then whenever you're creating your apps, you can just temper with this to make it whatever color you prefer. Then here we're gonna say background color. So background color, we're just gonna set it to transparent. Then background, just gonna put empty quotes. Let's just say canvas dot or, and we're gonna say color GPA, then yeah, parentheses. So these parentheses, we're gonna say hashtag say F5 F5 F5. Then here we're gonna say rounded rectangle. So pause going to be self dot pause. Size is going to be self dot size. Then we're gonna give this rounded rectangle some radius, and our radius is going to be 5 for the right left upper corner, 5 for the right upper corner, 5 for the lower right corner, and 5 for the lower left corner. So let me just save this. Okay, underneath this I'm gonna put our main window. Okay, so this is more like, this will be our root window. So everything, all of our applications, whenever we're making, whether we're making a mobile app, desktop app, all of them were going to be contained in this main window. So I'm just gonna call it main window. So I'm gonna set the orientation to vertical. So there's a major which orientation set, but I'm just gonna set it to vertical. but let's just get rid of it because we're not going to use it. So here when I say converse dot for, so I'm going to copy this top here, but then we're going to set the color to white. This is going to be F F F F F F. Then we need to make this a rectangle. Then we're going to get rid of this radius. Oh, I just edited the wrong thing. Okay, we're going to get rid of this rounded part and this radius. Then inside this main window, we're going to put a screen manager. Then we're going to give this screen manager an ID, of let's just call it screen manager. It's going to be small caps or screen underscore manager. Then inside the screen manager, we're going to put our screen. Remember, we called our screen home, so instead of screen, we're just going to put home. Then we're going to give this screen name. Just going to call it home screen. So let's say we add a splash screen and a registration screen, right? So if you want to change the screens, right, we're going to be using our screen manager, which we just gave an ID of screen manager. So we're just going to be saying screen manager dot current equals, if you want to change to the home screen, we're going to be saying equals home screen. If we named our splash screen, we're going to be saying dot current equals splash screen. Okay, so I believe you're done with builder.load string. So underneath that one, we're going to say pass. Let's copy our main window. So this is going to inherit from my MD app. Said here we're going to say body equals to assets, then fonts / so we're going to say open sans dash regular dot ttf. So remember when we were creating was it our text field? Let me just check. It's not, yeah. So we gave the font name app.body, right? So this body function, that's the one we have in our init.py file right here. So it's gonna be saying from this app dot this body function. So we're just giving this font name. That's the font style we're going to be using in our text fields. So let me just copy this. So the second one is bold, and this one is going to be semi bold. So this one is going to be semi bold, and this one is going to be bold. So we'll be rarely using these fonts, but it's actually good to have them inside here. So whenever we're using like traditional Kivy widgets, that's where we can use these fonts, and we can use font sizes. But then if we're using KivyMD widgets like labels, the updated KivyMD, we're now saying a font style label, or font style title, font style display. And the font size is going to be set by the row. So let's say row small is like 11 scalable pixels stuff. So now underneath these fonts, let me just put some space here, bring this to the top. Okay, so underneath this one, I'm gonna say fine build. So we're just gonna return our main window. Then here we're gonna say if name is equals to main, then we're gonna say main window dot run. Right, so we need to change this. So this is going to be main app, like this. So our main window, let me copy this. Okay, so we need to put our main window right here. So we're gonna say class and paste this. Main window is gonna inherit from a box layout. Then here we're gonna say fine. So let's open our text field. Just gonna copy this function like this. So I hope we don't get any errors, or we don't have any errors. So let's go to our main.py file. Let me just control A and delete it. So in our main.py file, we're gonna say from app port main app, right? So it's from this app folder. So from the app folder, import our main app, right? Then we're gonna say main app dot run. We may actually put a comma, so let's fix this and Control S. So now I'm just gonna try and run it. So if you have any problems, you're gonna catch it now. Okay, so it seems as if our custom template is working. So what I usually do, right? What I usually have it. Let me just get this and close this, and minimize this. Oh, we haven't put our fonts and our images, right? So let's open our assets folder. So I've taken some the liberty to add some font files inside our fonts folder and some images inside our images folder. So here we have this avatar.png. So this is the avatar, the picture we're going to be calling now on screen, and I just added a logo inside the images, right? So it's just named logo underscore white.png. So this is our Makuni Technologies logo, right? So let me get rid of this, minimize this, then I open our views folder. Then I minimize the home file, the home folder. I mean, inside the views folder, I'm gonna add a Python file. So I'm just gonna call it create underscore print dot. Let me just not add this. Okay, PyCharm is just gonna do it for us. So inside this folder, I need to import OS and CS, right? So what this create screen.py is going to do is it's going to create our screens for us, right? So let's open our home folder. So when we created a home folder, right, we added this init.py file, a home.kv, and a home.py file. So what I'm trying to do is create a function that's going to create this folder here for us. This init.py file, the kv file, and the home.py file. So whenever we are creating our applications, right, we don't have to recreate a folder and these three folders every time manually. So we're just going to be doing it from our terminal, right? So this is what the create screen.py file is going to do for us. So let me minimize this and create the code for it. Okay. So in here we're gonna say define create underscore ev underscore screen. Then it's gonna take our project name, project underscore name, right? Then here we're gonna say folders is equals to square brackets. Inside we're gonna say project name, right? Then we're gonna say underscore init underscore is equals to, let's say f, right? Okay. Here we're gonna say from dot curly braces. Then we're gonna say project name import curly braces project name dot capitalize, right? So this is going to make the first name of the project name capital. Okay, so we don't need to put these, so let me just make it simpler. Okay, then here I'm gonna say main underscore by underscore content is equals to and I might need to add more, but this is going to spend maybe 6 to 10 lines. Okay, so here I'm gonna say okay, let me just open our home.py file and just copy everything here. Okay, let's go back to our create screen.py and paste everything here. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is gonna say do this, say project name dot capitalize here. Then I will control D this. Then here when I say project name, let's see, let's see. Okay, okay, let's proceed. If you get any errors, then here when I say AV underscore content. So let's just go to our home.kv file and copy everything. Let's go back to our create screen.py and paste everything. Okay, okay. So let's get rid of this MD label and put a box layout. And we're just gonna give it an orientation of vertical and spacing of 10 display pixels and some padding of 10 display pixels. So I believe this is looking okay. Mm, so this needs to be here we're gonna say project name dot capitalize. So now we need to work on the code to create the folders and do everything there. I'll create your screen by. Okay. Let's minimize this. So here we're gonna say for folder in folders, right? When I say os dot make dirs, make directories, then in here we're gonna say folder, comma, this okay, true. Then here we're gonna say with open. Here we're gonna say os dot path dot join. Then in here we're gonna say project name, comma. Then we're gonna say net underscore dot I, comma, w, so that we can be able to write n as init underscore file. Then here we're gonna say init file dot write underscore init. So now we're just gonna write this init file code here. So this is going to create our init file and write all of the code inside the file. So let's just copy this and paste it 2 more times. Right. In the second one, we're gonna say we're gonna replace init file with main file. Right. Then inside here, we just control delete this. Then call this main underscore py content. Right. This one is going to be pi. So let's leave it at pi. And here I'm gonna say, so this is going to be project name, right? Let's see. Anyways, get an error. So here we're gonna say kv for file. Then this is going to, what do you call that? kv content. Okay, right. So this is going to be project name. And this is kv. Okay. Let's see. This seems to look okay. So just gonna run this right when you're done writing code. Then if you have any errors, see, that's the best way to see if you can, if we were getting errors or not. So here I'm just gonna say print here when I say screen, let's just say project name here. Project name. So let's say if our screen is it's called dog, so it's gonna say screen dog created successfully. So let me put a single quote here and another one here so that it highlights the name of the screen. has been created successfully. Let me put an exclamation mark here. Okay. Now I say, let me just place here. So if let me open my main.py file. Okay, let me just do it manually. If main equals to its name, then here it's main. Then we're gonna say if length is got it's not equal to true, I say print, let's say usage Python create print by you want to say project name. So let's make this small caps because this is the function we're gonna be using to create to run the create screen.py inside our terminal. So we just have to make sure this is okay. Then underneath that we're gonna say else create screen. Then we're gonna say so now is the time to see if we didn't make any errors, and if we did make errors we need to correct so that it's gonna be easier for us whenever we're creating our screens inside our template in the near future. So let's go to our terminal, right? So I already have my terminal up. So here I'm gonna say cd views because my create screen.py is inside my views folder. So then here I'm gonna say Python create screen.py. Then I'm gonna give the name of the screen. So for testing purposes, call it dog. Right. So okay. So here you can see inside our terminal here that our screen dog has been created successfully. Right. And inside our views folder here, we now have the screen named dog. So to see if our screen is working properly, right? Let's go inside our dog folder, then dog.kv. So inside here, I'm just gonna add a button. Right, it's just going to be a button. Then I'm gonna go to our app folder, then inside the init.py file, right? Then scroll up here. So underneath this home screen, I'm gonna say import dog from views dot dog dot dog. Then inside our main window, right here, I'm just gonna copy this and paste it on top here. Then I'm gonna replace this home with dog. Then here is going to be dog screen. So let's run this and see if our screen was made properly. Okay, so now our dog screen is working properly, right? So from now on, now we're just gonna be using this template folder, be creating all our projects in the future. So keep this template folder safe, right? So in the description, I'm gonna leave a link to this template folder. I'm gonna store it in my GitHub. It's going to be in the tutorials folder. So